the time. I want to start with a short-term query, and this is on InfoEdge, and this is for you, Kunal. We've got Satish, who has purchased InfoEdge at levels of 4,740 with a short-term perspective. He's asking, should he book profits at this juncture or should he hold on?
Good morning, Alex. First of all, I think you can hold on to the trade. The stock is nearing a resistance level. 5,000 approximately is the resistance mark for InfoEdge or Naukri. The last time I think the stock had taken a pause was in the month of April, where the stock took a resistance at 5,000, corrected back towards that 4,000 levels and bounced off yet again. But this bounce back is met by slight higher volumes. There is more consistency in volume. So my sense is that this 5,000 level could probably be taken out this time for InfoEdge. So if you're in from a shorter term perspective, I would suggest that hold on to your trading positions on Naukri or InfoEdge and look out for targets of at least 5,100 to 5,220 range.
Kunal, coming back to you on this next one as well, I'm just checking. If you don't have a view, then I'll go to the next question. Tamil Nadu Newsprint and Papers, bought at levels of 171. This is Swayam's question. Would you hold on to this?
Track the paper stocks. I think for the stock, Tamil Nadu Paper Print, it's trading at 160 plus levels if I'm not wrong. And I think at current levels, you can hold on to your trading positions over here as well. Paper stocks are going through a strong uptrend. The last 4-5 months, the degree of uptrend has gotten a bit more intense for these names, I think, which is why you're seeing many of these paper stocks doing pretty well, in the very near term. Last 12-13 months, the average volumes of the stock as well has been phenomenally higher. So I think in that sense, the viewer can continue to hold on to the investments. And I think if a time frame of 3 months to 6 months is what you are expecting, then I would expect at least a 180 to 200 kind of a target range on the stock.
All right. Good morning, Kunal, and good morning, Gaurang. Gaurang, this one is for you. We've got a query coming in from Rohan. He's saying he has 100 shares of IOC that he's purchased at 102 odd levels. He wants to know what should he do. He doesn't have any fixed term of holding this particular counter. So does it make sense to hold IOC over the longer term, or should he consider switching it to some other stock?
Morning to you as well, Sharan, and to everyone. So on the fundamental side, we have got coverage positive on all the three oil marketing companies, that is HPCL, BPCL and IOC. And I think these are some golden times for oil marketing companies. You have petrol at 102 rupees a litre, which is again historical high. Second historical high is on the diesel, which has crossed almost 94 rupees a litre in Mumbai, I'm talking about. And if I have to reflect upon the earnings, then I think the cracks and the margins have been improving consistently. Along with that, Sharan, all the three oil marketing companies, because they are PSUs, government owned, they have got a very high run rate of dividend payout ratio as well. So if you're not in a hurry, then I think you should give it some more time.
Gaurang, I'm coming back to you on this next question. We've got a question from Rajat, and I think this has been playing out over the last couple of weeks. The last figure, of course, for COVID that I see, must admit, I haven't seen today's number, but 60,000 cases on a daily basis or thereabouts, and the lowest in 75 days. What he's asking is, with the COVID-19 cases coming down, would you enter the entertainment stocks or media stocks, PVR, Inox, and the like?
Well, I hope I can answer this straight off, Alex, but this is all wishful thinking. And I think if you have to have the numbers on the lower trajectory, then we all have to behave ourselves in terms of COVID appropriate behavior and standard operating procedures. Let me say this, Alex, we have got positive coverage on PVR amongst the multiplexes. But my personal sense is that multiplexes, hospitality industry, aviation, travel and tourism, these are vulnerable sectors because we are still living with the COVID-19 and the mutations and the new avatars that come out. And if the situation has to get a little bit from maybe good to bad or ugly, then you will have restrictions again coming back, in which case sectors that I have just mentioned, including multiplexes, travel and tourism, hospitality industries, aviation. These are going to be the first casualties of that re-lockdown in case if it happens.
Next query is from Santi, and this is on Marico, saying that the price has the stock price has seen some sort of a breakout after a month of over a month of consolidation. So holding 100 shares of Marico, which is purchased at 402 rupees per share, wants to know whether it's good to add more at present price and what sort of a target should one look at, whether it's short term, medium term or even long term. Kunal, what's your take coming on Marico? Make sense to add more onto this particular counter, and what sort of target should one look at for Marico?
See, I think for Cheryl, for Marico, I believe closer to 510, 515 should be a good enough level where the viewer can probably look at booking out short-term targets for the stock. Somehow, what has happened is, for the stock from May onwards till June, at least the first half, so far the volumes have dropped off for the stock. Now, typically, when we see a stock going into an upward trend, whether it's a gradual uptrend or whether it's a very swift or a fast uptrend, and when a stock hits a new high, you see more participants entering into the stock. You see higher volumes, you see higher delivery data coming into that kind of stock. But for Marico, apparently those kind of numbers have dropped down. In fact, the biggest chunk of the volumes which has happened in the last 5-6 months happened in the first week of May, where the stock rallied from 400, 420 to 480, and from there on the average volumes have been almost 1/3 of the average volumes in that chunk. So that itself tells you that the stock is moving up on lesser volumes, and such kind of stocks are trends. They last for a short duration of time and they come back for a mean reversion process. So I would suggest that you look out to book profits close to 510 approximately on Marico, and then wait for a correction. The correction, I think, if it comes by, then the stock could retest at 460 mark. That could be a very good entry point yet again for Marico.
All right, that's the view coming in on Marico. In fact, the FMCG stocks are looking just a tad bit better than everything else right now. Let's go across now to the next question, which is from Manju, and this is for you, Gaurang. Laurus Lab and Deepak Nitrite, for the very long term, this is exactly her question. Would you suggest that she enter?
So Laurus Labs is one stock that was identified as one of the dark horses in a longer run time horizon, Alex. And I would definitely advise to go ahead and invest into the counter, but don't put all your money at one time. Staggered investment is the better approach. On Deepak Nitrite, unfortunately, don't have a coverage, but I have looked at the balance sheet and that looks very, very strong. Now, since we don't have a coverage, I can't straight off say buy, sell or hold.
Alright, our next query is from Bhargav, and this one is on Finolex Cables. He's saying the price action accumulation as well as distribution pattern in the stock is signaling a bullish trend. So he wants to know at what sort of a level can one look at buying into Finolex Cables for a 1 to 2 year horizon. Kunal, Finolex Cables, how is the chart looking for this company? As per Bhargav, currently the current market price is above the pre-COVID levels.
I think he's right on that assessment that the stock is above the pre-COVID levels, as well as on the momentum part as well, that the last 2 months have been very, very fruitful for the stock. We've seen a complete blowout in terms of volumes for Finolex cables, where the volumes have jumped up from an average monthly volumes of 45-50 lakhs to a volume which is more than 1.5 crores as such. So I think there's been a phenomenal jump in terms of volumes. Prices have completed an inverse head and shoulder pattern breakout. The breakout or the neckline of this breakout is closer to 400 mark for Finolex Cables, which means that should now act as a very strong medium to longer term support for the stock price. So I think on that backdrop of price volume breakout, inverse head and shoulder pattern, I would suggest a buy. If you're already invested, then you should definitely hold on to your investments over here.
All right, let's take the next one, and I'm coming back to you on this one, Kunal. Gautam Mahapatra has got a question on SAIL, and we've been speaking about steel companies so much of late, but he's got a 6-month view and I don't think that he's bought yet. with that in mind, would you suggest a little bit of caution, considering that there is a lot of action in the underlying metal? And if that reverses over the next 3 or 4 months, there could be a reversal in the fortunes for these steel companies as well.
Alex, you are absolutely right in that. That if the base metal prices, like what we saw yesterday or day before, some high volatile action coming out in one of the base metals as well. If that happens, it's bound to affect the not just the intraday or 1-2 day trend, but the near term trends for many of these names. Now, look at the charts for SAIL, for example. The stock has given a recent breakout, but after a correction of from 150 160 levels to 120, so it's corrected by more than 20-25% in that kind of a time frame. It's managing to bounce back. But what this bounce back is also telling you, that the stock has established a good support zone of 120, but that doesn't guarantee that the stock will probably rally back again with the same fierceness or intensity like what we had seen for many of these metal names a couple of months back. So the viewer has to be ready for some sort of a time-wise correction if he's looking to enter into SAIL. For the stocks to get back their mojo of what they were showing last 2 months back, they may have to take some time to consolidate. So I would suggest the buy and dips approach, and I think closer to 120 levels is where the bigger chunk of your buying should probably happen for SAIL.
All right, the next query is coming from Sri Kutan. He was saying that is it wise to buy Dhanuka Agritech at current levels, and also wants to know what sort of a view should one have on the entire agri theme in the current FY. Gaurang, what's your take on Dhanuka Agritech? Makes sense to buy at current levels, and how is the agri theme as a whole looking like for FY 22? Sorry.
No problem. Cheryl, we as a brokerage house are extremely positive on the entire agri theme. Now, whether it is related to fertilizer, urea, agri equipment, tractors, or whether it is to do with pump sets, or whether it's to do with insecticides or crop protection, products manufacturing company. And with the focus and the trust that the government is giving to the agri sector, and not to forget, I think this year monsoon is the third or the fourth consecutive year wherein we've got more than 98% long-term averages, and expectation is that this year it's going to be even better. Now, having all this thing in mind, my sense is that, though I would say this, that companies like Dhanuka Agritech or Insecticides India or Shakti Pumps, these are the kind of companies which are associated with the agri sector. But in terms of volumes, some days you don't have that kind of activity. So you need to be careful if you are nibbling into these stocks from a short to medium term, but long term I think they have got some great potential and growth story going forward.
Now, Gaurang, Mr. Bhatia, one of our viewers, has got an interesting question, and he simply said GIC Re. And we've spoken in the past about insurance being an interesting sector to play, but would you play the reinsurance theme? And when you say reinsurance theme, GIC Re really is one of the only themes that you could play, right? So would you invest in GIC Re at this point?
So let me give a disclosure first, Alex. We had subscribed on the IPO from a long-term point of view, and if I have to reflect upon peers, then I don't think you have absolute peers to compare with GIC Re. And as you rightly mentioned, I think the kind of reach that it has, my sense is along with life insurance, non-life, general insurance, reinsurance companies are also likely to do well. So we remain positive on GIC Re, and along with that, if you have to play non-life or general insurance, then ICICI Lombard is the other one that we are extremely positive on.
All right, the next query is coming in from Rao ST from Hyderabad. Sorry, TS Rao from Hyderabad. He is saying that he has 4,000 shares of Subex, which he's purchased at 42 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he can keep it for the longer term or should he go ahead and book profits. Kunal, what's your take on Subex? 4,000 shares of Subex at 42 rupees is what Mr. TS Rao has bought.
Well, I think you should look to book out profits over here. I would advise to book out profits on Subex because in the last 12-13 months, the stock has gone through an altogether great rally. I think from levels of just about $3 or $4, if I'm not wrong, it's jumped up to almost 59.60 where it's currently trading. What has happened is on the monthly charts, the RSIs for stock like Subex has come back to almost 92, 94 zone. Now these are very, very high overbought RSI zones. So I think the best trade over here is, rather than initiating fresh longs, it's better to try and have a trailing stop loss mechanism, or at least a partial profit booking, if not more. So I would advise booking out profits. If not, full profits, then at least a partial profit booking over here, and probably having a trailing stop loss closer to 54, 55 on the stock.
Okay, Gaurang, coming to you on this next one, we've got Manoj, who's bought Amara Raja batteries at more or less the current market price, around 780 levels. He's got 110 shares. Should he hold on to this investment?
Long term, I would definitely recommend to hold on. And along with that, there is one more company, Alex, that we are positive, that is Exide Industries. Now, if you have to play the auto theme, EV theme, then you can't forget that battery is the life of any vehicle, whether it is fossil fuel driven, that is petrol or diesel, or whether it is an EV or a CNG vehicle. And if you have to reflect upon the capacity that this company has, and of course the R&D investment that they are doing for the lithium aluminum batteries, I think it augurs extremely well. So you have a great new order market, and you have a very robust replacement market as well. Long term, hold on to Amara Raja battery.
The next query is from Tarun Gambhir. He's saying, can he buy, he's asking if he can buy IFB Industries at current levels for the short term. Kunal, IFB Industries, definitely last 1 year, that particular stock has rallied, but makes sense to enter right now for the shorter term?
To enter at current levels, again, it's a stock which is trying to get back its trend. I think from Jan or Feb, if I'm not wrong, where the stock made a high of closer to 1400 levels, it's gone into a bit of a corrective mode. So it's almost been 6 months where the stock has gone through a time-wise as well as a price-wise correction, bounced off exactly from its 200-day moving average, and now it's trying to just about meander and consolidate at those levels, just above its key moving averages. So I think in that sense, it makes a prudent decision to buy the stock at current levels. I think closer to 1000 odd levels is where you can look to probably average it out further if the stock happens to correct to those kinds of levels. And the near-term target range which you can keep could be approximately at 1200 to 1250 range.
Okay, coming back to you then, we've got a question from Snehashish. Purchased 100 Rain Industries at 197 after yesterday's breakout. And I'm only going to take one stock per person, Snehashish, so forgive me if I don't ask about Interglobe Aviation. Kunal, what would you say about this acquisition? Should he hold on for the long term, and what target should he look at?
Hold on to your investments over here for Rain. I think around that 200 breakout or 200 level, the stock is confirming a very strong breakout. It's a bullish flag pattern kind of a breakout. Volumes were very high yesterday as well on the breakout. So I think you just preempted the breakout and managing to buy the stock at those kind of levels. So I would suggest a hold, and I would expect a 224 to 240 kind of a potential target range over the next 2 to 3 months.
All right. The next query is coming in from Mahesh Vaidyanathan on V-Guard. He wants to know how does V-Guard look for the longer term. He's saying that the sales growth, he's been looking at the sales growth of the company for the past 2 quarters, and he's expecting that the company will bounce back post this COVID wave as well. So Gaurang, does it make sense to look at V-Guard for the longer term currently?
Covering this stock, Cheryl, V-Guard for a pretty long period of time, and we continue to have a positive outlook. From being a traditionally south-based company, the company has managed to diversify pan-India, and along with that, Cheryl, they've also introduced new products in different ranges, which has also gone down and accepted well by the customers. If you're in for a long term, continue to hold on. You get dips, you can definitely add on to your investment.
Okay, Kunal, I'm going to club a couple of stocks if you'll allow me. Adani Total Gas, one of those Adani stocks that have been under a little bit of pressure, and Cummins is the second stock. So the question on Adani is that it's been dropping for a couple of days. Should you get out? This is from Ramesh on Twitter. And we've also got a question from Rajesh on mail about Cummins. Bought at levels of 850 bought at levels of 850. What is the short-term suggestion?
I think for Adani Total Gas, I think you should look to exit. I think this is the third day, if I'm not wrong, where the stock has been hitting lower circuits. Again, very difficult to say that whether the circuit will open up and whether you'll get the exit at an apt price. So that's the tricky part for stocks which are very, very illiquid. So which is why I keep on disclosing that whenever stocks are illiquid, you have to stay away from these names, and you can't buy these stocks at much higher quantity. For Cummins India, on the other hand, I believe that it's a good stock. You can hold on to your investments. I think this stock is nearing a very short-term breakout. It's on the early time frame, but it's an inverse shoulder breakout on the early time frame. And if the breakout is successful, you could look at a pop of almost 100 to 120 rupees on the stock price. That's the pattern depth for Cummins India. So I would suggest a buy on Cummins India. If you've already bought, then hold on for at least a 100 to 120 point on the upside.
All right, that was it for our query segment, but let's move on to the high risk and low risk ideas. And Gaurang, I'll start first with you. What are your high risk and low risk ideas for the viewers today?
Well, Cheryl, low risk long-term fundamental ideas. First one is private sector bank, ICICI Bank, stellar set of numbers for the last many quarters, and fourth quarter was no surprise. The bank has maintained the run rate and improved on certain parameters. So ICICI Bank would be a great investment opportunity. Targets of 725. Now these targets may look very close to where the stock is trading, but a disclosure: in case if the earnings are better than what we expect, then we will revise the target upwards on ICICI Bank. As of now, 725 is the target. The next one is from the gas space, and as we all know, oil and gas has been buzzing all over the world, and the outlook for consumption as far as gas-related companies are concerned in India looks extremely strong, with the pan-India network of distribution pipeline, etc. coming through. So MGL, that is Mahanagar Gas Limited. Now, as we all know, this company has got a virtual monopoly in Mumbai as far as piped natural gas is concerned, supply to household. And along with that, they have got city gas distribution stations as well. Outlook looks extremely strong. 1400 is the target on MGL.
All right, fantastic. Thanks so much for that, Gaurang. Coming to you, Kunal, on your high risk and low risk ideas, what do you have for us today?
I'm suggesting is a buy on Asian Paints. I think after yesterday's breakout, the stock looks to be more in a trending phase. Price volume breakout was seen yesterday, breakout of that 3000 level as well. So it's a psychological break as well. And there was some good options data or encouraging options data which came across for the stock yesterday on closing basis. So I think on the back of it, would suggest a buy on Asian Paints, targets of 3,140, stop loss to be kept at 3,000 mark. And the second would be a buy on REC Limited. After 4 days of a sideways price correction, the stock is now coming back and tapping back to its short-term moving average support, more of a 20-day moving average support at current levels of 155, 157. So could be a good contrarian bet at current levels, targets of 168, stop loss 150.
All right, on that note, thank you, Kunal, as well as Gaurang, for joining us on Buy Now, Sell Now, giving us your take on the markets, also talking about the stocks and giving your high risk and low risk ideas for our viewers. And on that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But when we come back, we will talk to the management of LIC Housing, so don't go anywhere.
Powered by LG Air Conditioners, all-in-one, one in all.
Solar BLW Precision Forgings Limited, one of India's leading automotive